Right now, I need every man over 60 to pay attention. What you do in private may be draining your power without you realizing it. I've seen patients with softer erections, reduced sensitivity, and shaken self-esteem, often tied to how they masturbate. Almost no one prepares you for this. I'm Dr. Richard Cole. For more than 2 decades, I've worked in men's sexual health. In my clinic, I see cases like yours every week, and my goal is to give you control, not guilt. Masturbation isn't good or bad on its own. Done the wrong way, it disrupts blood flow, scrambles hormones, and isolates you emotionally. Done right, it becomes a tool for strength. The difference is technique, timing, and respecting your body's signals. Today, I'll expose 6 quiet traps almost no one talks about, show you how to turn the habit into a health ally, and teach a natural 7-second tweak to bring back firmness and drive. No pills, no procedures, just safe, evidence-based steps tailored to your age. If this resonates, drop a 1 in the comments. If it's new to you, type 0. I read and respond to every message. Subscribe now for weekly, honest, practical guidance for your best years. Let's start with the first risk. It targets your emotions in ways few people notice. There's an energy leak almost no one names. It's easy to miss, but strong enough to steal your spark, especially when masturbation becomes an escape valve for stress or boredom. Many older men slide into a private loop that wears them down without noticing. Meet Roberto, 68, a retired engineer. After a life-solving problems and enjoying woodworking and daily walks, he began to feel a strange heaviness. Sleep was fine, meds stable, yet fatigue shadowed him all day. He tried to get back to his projects and just couldn't. "Doc, it's like someone drains my battery overnight. I'm embarrassed to talk about it," he admitted. That blend of confusion and shame is more common than you think. If this sounds familiar, know this: it isn't a moral failing. It's a health issue worthy of respect. Roberto's burnout traces back to basic biology most men never hear about. When masturbation ramps up, your body can spike cortisol, the stress hormone. It flips your system into high alert and demands resources to settle back down. Over time, recovery slows, metabolism drags, and what felt like a harmless release starts leaving you tired, weak, and emotionally spent. When the habit gets too frequent, the energy drain doesn't just make you tired, it can start a slow slide with long-reach consequences. Fatigue makes you skip physical activity. Less movement weakens muscles, shrinks stamina, and gradually dents heart health and mental sharpness. Each tiny dip seems minor, but together they raise your risk for infections, falls, and a loss of independence you never saw coming. Many men believe constant release keeps them young and strong. Tempting idea, but incomplete. With age-related hormonal and metabolic shifts, your body handles sexual discharge differently. In excess, it taxes the very systems that keep you steady and healthy. There's a smarter path. Aim for 2 to 3 times a week at most, giving yourself real recovery time. Build in rest days and support hormonal balance with nutritious food and solid hydration. Your body feels the fatigue, and your brain faces a deeper risk. Repetition can train your reward circuit to chase automatic relief, not conscious pleasure. Time to look beyond tired muscles and see a nervous system conditioned to want more and more stimulus. You deserve a full sex life, and you deserve to understand what dopamine dysregulation does. Dopamine, the brain's reward messenger, behaves differently in a mature brain. Receptors grow less responsive, so you need more stimulation to feel the same spark. What once satisfied now feels flat, and you repeat the behavior trying to recapture the original hit. Thomas, 71, a former school principal, lived by routine and discipline. He described when the act stopped being pleasure and became a daily need. "It wasn't about enjoyment anymore. I felt foggy until I did it. That scared me." When a private practice crosses into compulsion, the behavior shifts from desire to silencing restlessness, and you drift away from your own intentions. That's the mechanism. The ritual becomes a daily loop driven by a reward system demanding bigger doses for the same effect. The brain raises the bar on what feels good. Neuroadaptation traps you in a narrowing circuit. Keep feeding it, and the fallout spills beyond the bedroom. Motivation for hobbies quietly fades. What used to delight, reading, gardening, fixing things, turns dull. Thoughts feel jumbled, attention scatters, and a gray monotony washes out the color of everyday life. Even if your body still responds, the urge to connect cools. You pull away from friends, family, simple human touch. The brain learns to pin desire on one target, release, and the rest of life's joys sink to the background. Experts call this a neurochemical hijack. The reward system serves a narrow impulse and forgets other sources of satisfaction. Instead of building a rich toolkit, affection, belonging, creativity, motivation funnels into one repeated act. The cost is high. Your world of pleasure narrows until release feels like the only spark left. The good news: the brain is plastic. Neuroplasticity lets you rewire reward pathways at any age. Slowing the pattern helps you regain balance. Space your sessions. Leave at least a day between them. Move your body, walks, light training. Exercise lifts dopamine more steadily. Pick up a forgotten hobby. Call someone you trust. These steps give your brain permission to relearn broader rewards, connection, purpose, creativity. Intimacy is far more than a solo climax. It's conversation, affectionate touch, and bonding. When masturbation becomes your only comfort, it crowds out deeper human experiences. You can't see it, but the weight is real. We've covered the mind, now a risk you can't brush aside. The heart, under sudden pressure. Even seasoned cardiologists sometimes overlook the link between self-stimulation and cardiovascular spikes. Francis spent decades managing high blood pressure with discipline. Meds on time, salt and sugar in check. At 72, he felt in control, until bouts of chest tightness, racing heart, and dizziness appeared without a pattern. His observant wife noticed a link. Episodes followed shortly after solo release. Arousal and orgasm put a distinct stress on the cardiovascular system. Heart rate and blood pressure jump sharply for a few intense moments, creating a spike that meds don't always fully buffer. For men over 60 with hypertension, diabetes, or cardiac history, those bursts can push a vulnerable heart past its safe range. Sexual effort isn't the same as a brisk walk. During orgasm, heart rate can jump 30-50 beats in seconds. Blood pressure surges with it. A younger heart tolerates that. An aging, repaired, or stiffened system may not. Think of an old car. Smooth highway feels fine, but a sudden slam on the gas reveals engine weaknesses. Unlike gradual exercise, masturbation often hits the system all at once. Privacy, secrecy, and a wave of tension combine into an unpredictable load. No warm-up means no warning, and that's the danger zone. Act before emergencies, not after. Reduce frequency, keep intensity reasonable, and be open with your doctor. If you feel chest discomfort, irregular beats, dizziness, or shortness of breath during or after, take it seriously. A quick conversation can prevent major events and protect your intimate life. Sexual well-being and heart health go hand in hand. Treat both with equal care. Relying on the act as your antidote to loneliness or stress can erode mental clarity, emotional steadiness, and the sharp thinking you've built. David, 69, a respected accountant, prided himself on his mind. His family noticed he was scattered, detached, and distant from those he loved. I couldn't focus. My thoughts kept looping back to the same place. I'd lose track talking to my grandkids, he said. Not a trivial lapse. This is what happens when release becomes your main coping tool. It starts small, after retirement, health scares, loss, and becomes a stand-in for processing feelings. Big life transitions stack up, and the mind is vulnerable. Masturbation steps in as quick comfort and locks your head into a loop. Instead of building healthy outlets, it cements a shortcut. Each release brings dopamine and endorphins that lift mood for moments. Repeated, the brain loses flexibility. In comes brain fog and rigid thinking that chips away at focus. Watch for signs: trouble with simple tasks, using the act to dodge problems, irritability or anxiety when you can't get release. Some men start neglecting relationships, hobbies, daily duties, short-term memory slips. Your head feels heavy afterward. Protect your mind. You have more options than the release regret cycle. Mindfulness practices, daily walks, tai chi, art, music, journaling, volunteering, and local groups rebuild a sense of belonging. Stuck? A counselor can help you work through grief, retirement shifts, and strain. These habits break dependence on sexual pleasure as your only relief, open space for flexible strategies, and mature your emotional toolkit. Now, an impact that stares back from the mirror and hits confidence. I met James, 73. A few hairs in the drain didn't scare him. Thinning was expected, and his dad went bald early. What alarmed him was the speed. 6 months of receding temples and thinning crown, hair turning rough and brittle. He blamed age and genes. But the pattern wasn't just typical male pattern baldness. The pace was too fast, pointing to a hidden trigger. In a careful talk, we found it. In retirement, James increased solo activity to ease stress. Seems harmless on the surface. In practice, repeated hormonal spikes pushed up testosterone, and more importantly, DHT, dihydrotestosterone. DHT acts like a quiet saboteur in predisposed men. It binds to follicle receptors and gradually shrinks them until hair production stops. Normally, that's a slow march. With frequent spikes, the process accelerates. If you keep a daily habit, you may be amplifying swings. It doesn't mean shutting down your sexuality. It means seeing the whole picture. Genetics set the stage, behavior hits the gas. James wanted solutions, not a lecture, so we built a practical plan. If you notice thinning after weeks of high frequency, start by cutting back to every other day, or less, to stabilize hormones. Note changes for a few weeks. Talk to your doctor. Finasteride can block DHT and slow miniaturization. Not magic, but it preserves confidence. Support hormones with routine, zinc, biotin, lean protein, regular activity, walks, light weights, swimming, boosts circulation, and lowers cortisol. Stress management is crucial. Guided breathing, social time, and hobbies calm the hormonal web. Moderate masturbation isn't harmful by itself. The key is rhythm. Read the signals and stay in charge. If hair loss hits appearance, the next point hits the core of sexual well-being and can shake confidence even more. Men expect changes with time, but this goes beyond wear and tear. Intense, repetitive self-stimulation trains the brain to demand a narrow pattern of pleasure. When the context changes, like with a new partner, your erection may not keep up. Miguel, 66, ended a long marriage and wanted to rediscover his sexuality. Even when he felt aroused, erections were weaker, faded fast, and fear of failing crept in. It's not just low testosterone or sluggish blood flow. The root is neural. Repeating the same method conditions arousal to that root. In real connection, the brain struggles to shift gears. Think of it this way. Repeated habits carve a groove in the nervous system. Each session deepens it. When it's time to be with someone, arousal tries to run the old track and stalls. Clinically, that shows up as inconsistent firmness, needing very specific triggers to stay hard, and a sense of disconnect during partnered sex. Many men report, on their own, they function. With someone else, they fizzle. That bruises self-esteem and erodes the desire for closeness. The good news, you're not broken. Your brain adapted to repetition, and you can re-educate it. Action plan. Take a 7 to 14-day reset pause from sexual activity, including masturbation. It's a reboot for natural circuits. Nerves and brain regain sensitivity and respond better to varied stimulation. When you return, change the script. Lighter touch, different angles, varied pace. Breaking old patterns retrains mind and body to respond flexibly, like real intimacy. Add mindfulness. Notice sensations and let the experience unfold without sprinting to climax. Chasing fantasy and speed only tightens the narrow pathway. Bring partnered elements into solo practice, sounds, movement, textures, to nudge arousal toward a more realistic, rewarding style. Finally, shift your focus. Instead of centering everything on orgasm, value the whole journey: arousal, connection, presence. Give the process room, and your system recovers a fuller range of feeling and function. Even late in life, the male body adapts with striking resilience. What seems stuck is often a pattern that can be reshaped with patience and gentleness. Patience, self-compassion, openness to new approaches, and the belief that sex can improve with small tweaks. Those are the keys. Patients who embraced this saw real changes: firmer, more reliable erections, renewed confidence, and deeper closeness with their partners. Remember, this problem flies under the radar because it creeps in. Erection quality linked to repetitive stimulation doesn't collapse overnight. It seeps in until connection feels distant and anxiety visits the bedroom. Think of reinforcing a bridge. It needs repairs and skill. Rebuilt, it carries more weight with safety and confidence. Masturbation after 60 doesn't need a label. It's a tool. Its effect depends on how you use it. It can bolster your self-confidence or slowly drain your vitality. It deserves attention and awareness because your health and joy are worth protecting. This stage of life isn't about giving up pleasure or cutting out what feels good. It's about handling things with more intention, care, and wisdom. Your body still responds. Your desire still matters. These aren't leftovers from youth. They're living strengths in you now. Small adjustments can turn a heavy private moment into real power. With focus, masturbation can become a source of energy and well-being, not regret. If this conversation hit home, stick around. In the next video, I'll share a simple, natural protocol that's already helped many men reclaim a sense of strength, purpose, and sexual vitality, and you may feel a positive shift as soon as tomorrow morning. Let's talk about it. If this conversation hit home, stick around. In the next video, I'll share a simple, natural protocol that's already helped many men reclaim a sense of strength, purpose, and sexual vitality, and you may feel a positive shift as soon as tomorrow morning. Let's talk about it.